Electrive Studio, powered by P3.
So we are here in the Electrive studio again at EVS 30 in Stuttgart. On the couch with me is Mr. Bert Klerk, or Bert Klerk, as you would say in Holland, in the Netherlands. You're from Holland E Mobility and have been very busy lately. Maybe give us a little idea about what you do.
I'm the independent chairman of a public-private platform on e-mobility in the Netherlands, which is called in Dutch the Formula E team. It doesn't have anything to do with racing, but it's already a long-standing platform. It's an independent advisory committee of the Minister of Economic Affairs, and they give advice how to introduce electric mobility in the Netherlands. And we have all parties concerned with e-mobility in our platform. So that's the technical universities, central government, local government, energy companies, of course the automotive industry, the NGOs. So all parties concerned with e-mobility are all assembled in the Formula E team, and we call it in abroad Holland E Mobility.
So I take two things from that. So once you're accelerating e-mobility, or actually three things, acceleration, but also it's kind of a project for all levels of society. You said it's a public-private platform. What is your advice at the moment?
Well, it's a public-private platform, and we work top-down and bottom-up. So we have working groups, for example, with local governments, with regions, how to introduce and deploy charging infrastructure. And top down, we advise the minister about fiscal policy, about what kind of subsidies would be good or better. And we are at a tipping point in the Netherlands now. We have more than 120,000 electric cars. We have more than 30,000 charging points. And we really think it's necessary to spread electric mobility and to tempt the consumer to buy an electric car. You know, it's relatively expensive to buy an electric car. We think it's essential that we tempt consumers to buy one, and that means that we have a necessity to have more charging infrastructure, even in a densely populated country like the Netherlands, with so many charging points already.
Yeah, I was just wondering this. I mean, tempting can mean a few things, and obviously there's always this infamous chicken and egg problem. Is it the car or the infrastructure first? And another question is does tempting also mean like public funding or subsidies?
Well, we tried and we advised the government to have some idea of subsidies for consumers in for example, the first 3 or 4 years. But Netherlands government decided otherwise. They said, we're not going to subsidize consumers. We are willing to invest more in charging infrastructure. And I understand that policy line of the Netherlands government. I don't know, it's always a chicken and egg problem, of course. You see that wherever you are in Europe, you see that same problem. And we think that it is essential that you have, wherever you are, you have a charging infrastructure, and perhaps even more essential for the consumer is that he's always capable of charging his car with one charging card. So we think it's essential to have a open source ICT standards. We think it's essential to have a European e-roaming platform in which it's very comfortable for a consumer to drive with his electric car, not only within the boundaries of the Netherlands, where you can charge your car with one card wherever you go, but when you go to Germany, for example, you still need a couple of cards to charge your car. And we think that's a hurdle. We used to have a range anxiety, and now we have an anxiety: which cars should I use to charge my car? And I think we should, on a European level, see that we get any further there.
Maybe you could say access anxiety or something like that, or interconnectivity anxiety. Also, at the moment in the industry, there's huge discussions about fast charging. We are going higher and higher. Do you think fast charging is the way, or is a must?
Well, we think that, we don't know yet. Whether or not we are going to charge our cars at home or at work, or in the public area in between. We think it will always be a combination. So fast charging stations, we have about 400 fast charging stations already in the Netherlands. They are in this stage essential to give the consumer the idea, or telling the consumer you don't need to have a range anxiety. But the longer term, when we look at the future of charging, there will always be a combination of charging at home, charging at your work, and perhaps some fast charging in between.
And for you, as a kind of an expert on the Netherlands, what are maybe the three most important learnings or best practices that you think could be transferred to other countries in Europe or abroad?
Well, where we are now, when I look back at what we did, we started with fiscal initiatives by the Netherlands government to stimulate fleet owners to go into electric driving. That was a stimulus for electric drive in the Netherlands. So it's the role of the government in starting up. Secondly, investing in the charging infrastructure. And thirdly, it is essential that you have interconnectivity, interoperability, which makes it easier for a consumer to charge his car. Those are the three things of which I think they are essential for introducing electric mobility.
Thank you very much. So interconnectivity, or Europe-wide, or on a transnational level. That was Bert Klerk for electrive.com. Thank you very much.
Electrive Studio, powered by P3.